Have you ever noticed that some days your joints hurt more than others, even though you haven't changed your activities? The truth is, what you eat might be silently making your arthritis worse. Many people spend years trying medications, therapies, and expensive treatments without realizing that the real culprit could be sitting right on their dinner plate. While doctors are quick to prescribe pills, they rarely mention how powerful your diet can be in either relieving or intensifying your joint pain. In this video, we're going to reveal the 6 foods that are secretly making your joint pain worse. Foods that you might be eating every day without realizing the damage they're causing. We'll also share the alternatives that can actually help reduce inflammation and ease your discomfort. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly which foods to avoid and which to embrace for healthier, more flexible joints. Stay with me until the end, because the last food on our list is one that many arthritis sufferers consume daily, thinking it's helping their health, when it's actually making their pain significantly worse. Once you eliminate these inflammatory foods from your diet, you might be surprised at how quickly your joints begin to feel relief. Now let's get started. Food 1. Refined sugar and sweetened beverages. One of the most damaging substances for your joints isn't something you might typically associate with arthritis. It's sugar, not just the sugar you consciously add to your coffee or tea, but the hidden sugars in processed foods, sodas, and even seemingly healthy options like fruit juices and flavored yogurts. When you consume refined sugar, your body experiences a spike in inflammation almost immediately. Studies have shown that high sugar consumption triggers the release of inflammatory messengers called cytokines, which directly impact joint tissue. For people with arthritis, this means more pain, more stiffness, and potentially faster deterioration of the joint over time. Consider the story of Margaret, a 68-year-old woman who struggled with rheumatoid arthritis for years. Despite taking her prescribed medications, she still experienced flare-ups that left her unable to garden, her favorite hobby. When her doctor suggested eliminating added sugars for just 2 weeks, she was skeptical, but willing to try. "I didn't think something as simple as cutting out my daily soda and cookies would make much difference," she said. "But within 10 days, the constant burning in my hands had noticeably decreased. I could finally bend my fingers without wincing." What makes sugar particularly problematic is how it affects weight and inflammation simultaneously. Excess sugar consumption leads to weight gain, putting additional pressure on already stressed joints, especially in the knees, hips, and spine. This creates a vicious cycle where inflammation causes pain, pain reduces mobility, reduced mobility leads to weight gain, and weight gain worsens inflammation. The average American consumes around 17 teaspoons of added sugar daily, far above the recommended maximum of 6 teaspoons for women and 9 for men. Often people don't even realize how much sugar they're consuming because it's hidden in unexpected places like salad dressings, bread, pasta sauces, and even health foods like granola bars. So what should you eat instead? Focus on naturally sweet foods like fresh berries, which actually contain antioxidants that fight inflammation. If you need to sweeten foods, try small amounts of raw honey, which contains beneficial enzymes, or stevia, a natural zero-calorie sweetener that doesn't trigger inflammation. And instead of reaching for juice or soda, try infusing water with cucumber, mint, or citrus for flavor without the inflammatory effects. Remember, reducing sugar isn't just about eliminating desserts. It's about becoming aware of all the hidden sources in your diet and gradually replacing them with whole, unprocessed alternatives. Your joints will thank you with less pain and more mobility. Food 2. Processed and red meats. That bacon at breakfast, the hot dogs at a family barbecue, or the pepperoni on your pizza. These processed meats might be satisfying in the moment, but they could be major contributors to your joint pain. Similarly, even unprocessed red meats like steaks and hamburgers may be worsening your arthritis symptoms without you realizing it. Processed meats contain high levels of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are formed when meats are cooked at high temperatures or preserved with certain chemicals. These compounds trigger inflammation in the body and have been directly linked to worsening arthritis symptoms. Red meat, even when unprocessed, contains high amounts of saturated fat and omega-6 fatty acids, both of which promote inflammatory responses in the body. Take Robert, a 72-year-old with osteoarthritis in his knees. As a devoted meat eater, his typical day included bacon at breakfast, a ham sandwich at lunch, and beef or pork at dinner. I grew up believing meat at every meal was essential for staying strong, he explained. His joint pain was so severe that he'd given up golf, a passion he'd enjoyed for decades. When his rheumatologist suggested reducing red and processed meats, he was resistant, but eventually agreed to try it for 1 month. He substituted leaner proteins like fish, chicken, and plant-based options. Within 3 weeks, I noticed I could walk upstairs with less pain, Robert shared. After 2 months of this new way of eating, I was back on the golf course, not pain-free, but comfortable enough to play 9 holes, which felt like a miracle after 2 years away from the game. What many people don't realize is that the way meat is prepared also matters significantly. Grilling, frying, and broiling create more inflammatory compounds than methods like steaming, boiling, or slow cooking. And processed meats, anything smoked, cured, or containing preservatives like nitrates, are particularly problematic for arthritis sufferers. So what should you eat instead? Focus on anti-inflammatory proteins like fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, sardines, which contain omega-3 fatty acids that actually help reduce joint inflammation. Plant proteins like lentils, chickpeas, and beans offer protein without the inflammatory effects of red meat. And if you do choose to eat meat, opt for smaller portions of lean cuts, ideally from grass-fed animals, which have better fatty acid profiles than grain-fed livestock. When cooking meat, choose gentler methods like poaching, steaming, or using a slow cooker, which create fewer inflammatory compounds. And try incorporating more meatless meals into your week. Even starting with 1 or 2 days can make a noticeable difference in joint comfort. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Food 3, refined grains and wheat products. The bread on your sandwich, the pasta you enjoy for dinner, the crackers you snack on. These seemingly innocent foods might be major contributors to your joint pain. Refined grains and wheat products have become dietary staples for most people, but they could be silently worsening your arthritis symptoms day after day. Refined grains are stripped of their fiber and nutrients during processing, leaving mainly starch that quickly converts to sugar in your bloodstream. This rapid spike in blood sugar triggers an inflammatory response that can increase joint pain and stiffness. For many people with arthritis, particularly those with autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, wheat and gluten can be especially problematic, even beyond their effects on blood sugar. Consider the experience of Linda, a 65-year-old with osteoarthritis in her hands. For years, she accepted that the swelling and stiffness in her fingers were just part of aging. I could barely button my shirts in the morning or open jars, she explained. I just assumed there was nothing more I could do besides taking pain medication. When her daughter suggested trying a gluten-free diet for just 1 month, Linda was skeptical but willing to try. The first week was hard. I missed my toast at breakfast and cookies in the afternoon, she said. But by the 3rd week, I noticed something remarkable. The swelling in my knuckles had visibly decreased. I could make a fist without wincing for the first time in years. Linda's experience isn't unusual. Many arthritis sufferers report significant improvement when they reduce or eliminate refined grains and wheat products. Part of this is due to gluten, a protein found in wheat that can trigger inflammation in sensitive individuals. But even gluten-free refined grains can cause problems because of their effect on blood sugar and insulin response. What many people don't realize is that whole grains and refined grains affect the body very differently. When you eat white bread, white rice, or regular pasta, you're consuming foods that have been stripped of their fiber and nutrients, elements that would normally slow down digestion and prevent blood sugar spikes. Without these components, refined grains essentially behave like sugar in your body, triggering the same inflammatory cascade. So what should you eat instead? Focus on true whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat, and oats, which contain fiber that slows digestion and prevents rapid blood sugar spikes. For those who suspect they might be sensitive to gluten, trying gluten-free options like amaranth, millet, and certified gluten-free oats could bring relief. And increasing your consumption of starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes can provide satisfying carbohydrates with anti-inflammatory benefits. When you do include grains in your diet, pay attention to portion sizes. Even whole grains can contribute to inflammation if consumed in large amounts. Try using your cupped hand as a guide for an appropriate serving, and balance your plate with plenty of vegetables and anti-inflammatory proteins. Remember, making these changes doesn't mean you can never enjoy bread or pasta again. Instead, it's about finding better alternatives and being mindful of how these foods affect your unique body and joint health. Food 4. Certain vegetable oils. Many people trying to eat healthier switch from butter to vegetable oils, thinking they're making a better choice for their joints. But what if I told you that some of the most common cooking oils in American kitchens are actually making your arthritis worse? The truth about these oils might surprise you and explain why your joint pain persists, despite your efforts to eat healthier. The problem lies with oils high in omega-6 fatty acids, particularly corn, soybean, sunflower, and safflower oils. While omega-6 fats are essential in small amounts, the typical American diet contains far too many of them relative to omega-3 fatty acids. This imbalance creates a pro-inflammatory state in the body that can significantly worsen joint pain and stiffness. Take James, a 70-year-old with knee osteoarthritis, who prided himself on cooking heart-healthy meals with vegetable oils instead of butter or lard. Despite his efforts, his joint pain continued to worsen year after year. "I was doing everything right according to the conventional wisdom," he said. "Low fat, plenty of salads with store-bought dressings, cooking everything in healthy vegetable oil. I couldn't understand why I wasn't seeing improvement." When James's doctor explained the inflammation connection, he was shocked. He switched to cooking with olive oil and avocado oil and made his own salad dressings instead of using store-bought versions, which are typically made with inflammatory oils. "Within a month, I noticed less stiffness when I woke up in the morning," he reported. "After 3 months, I could walk up and down stairs with significantly less pain." What makes these oils particularly problematic is their ubiquity in the modern diet. They're not just used for home cooking. They're in virtually every processed and packaged food, restaurant meal, and fast food item. Even if you never cook with these oils yourself, you're likely consuming them in everything from salad dressings to crackers, chips, baked goods, and frozen meals. The processing of these oils is also concerning. Most vegetable oils undergo extensive refinement, using high heat and chemicals, creating compounds that trigger inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. And when these already problematic oils are reheated, as in deep frying, they become even more damaging to joint health. So what should you use instead? Olive oil is one of the best choices for arthritis sufferers, as it contains oleocanthal, a natural compound with anti-inflammatory effects similar to ibuprofen. Avocado oil is another excellent option, with a higher smoke point that makes it better for cooking at higher temperatures. Coconut oil, while higher in saturated fat, contains medium-chain triglycerides that may have anti-inflammatory properties for some people. Making this switch isn't just about changing what you cook with. It's about becoming aware of hidden sources of inflammatory oils in your diet. Start reading ingredient labels carefully, looking for corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, vegetable oil, or partially hydrogenated oils, and choose products made with healthier alternatives when possible. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Food 5, nightshade vegetables. This next food group might come as a surprise, especially since we're often told to eat more vegetables for better health. Nightshade vegetables, which include tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, and all varieties of peppers, are generally considered nutritious choices. However, for some people with arthritis, these otherwise healthy foods can actually trigger joint pain and inflammation. Nightshades contain compounds called alkaloids, particularly solanine, which can affect nerve muscle function and digestive function in sensitive individuals. For people with certain types of arthritis, especially rheumatoid arthritis and psoriatic arthritis, these compounds may intensify inflammation and pain in the joints. Consider the experience of Eleanor, a 67-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis who loved her garden-fresh tomatoes and peppers. I grew them myself and ate them almost every day during summer, she explained. I couldn't understand why sometimes my arthritis would flare up so badly, despite taking my medications consistently. When her rheumatologist suggested a 3-week elimination of nightshades, she was reluctant but willing to try. The difference was remarkable, Eleanor shared. My morning stiffness decreased dramatically, and the constant burning sensation in my hands diminished. When I tried eating tomatoes again as a test, the pain returned within hours. It was a clear connection I had never made before. It's important to note that nightshades don't affect everyone with arthritis. Some people can eat them without any issues. The reaction seems to be highly individual, which is why many doctors don't mention them as a potential trigger. Additionally, the response can vary based on how the nightshades are prepared, with raw nightshades typically causing more issues than cooked versions in sensitive individuals. Many people are unaware that nightshades extend beyond the obvious tomatoes and potatoes. The category includes paprika, cayenne pepper, and other spices derived from peppers. It also includes tomatillos, goji berries, and even tobacco. This means that many sauces, spice mixes, and prepared foods contain nightshade ingredients that could be affecting your joints without your knowledge. So what should you eat instead? If you suspect nightshades might be contributing to your joint pain, try replacing them with non-nightshade vegetables that still provide similar nutrients and culinary uses. Instead of potatoes, try sweet potatoes, yams, cassava, or turnips. Replace tomatoes with pumpkin, beets, or carrots for sauces. Use zucchini, mushrooms, or carrots instead of eggplant. Season foods with turmeric, ginger, and herbs instead of paprika or cayenne. The best approach is to eliminate all nightshades completely for 2 to 3 weeks. Then carefully reintroduce them one at a time while monitoring your symptoms. This can help you determine which specific nightshades affect you most significantly, if any. Some people find they can tolerate small amounts or certain types better than others. Remember, nutrition is highly individual. What triggers inflammation in one person might be perfectly fine for another. The key is to pay attention to your body's signals and make adjustments based on your personal experience rather than following generic advice. Food 6. Dairy products. The final food on our list might be the most surprising, and for many arthritis sufferers, the most difficult to eliminate. Dairy products, which many people consume daily for calcium and protein, could actually be making your joint pain significantly worse. Dairy is often recommended for bone health, especially for older adults concerned about osteoporosis. However, for many people with arthritis, the inflammatory proteins in milk, cheese, and other dairy products can trigger or worsen joint pain and swelling. The primary culprits are casein and whey, proteins found in cow's milk that can stimulate the immune system and increase inflammation in sensitive individuals. Take the case of William, a 73-year-old with osteoarthritis who drank milk every morning and enjoyed cheese throughout the day, believing it was good for his bones. "My doctor told me to get plenty of calcium for bone strength, so I made sure to have dairy with almost every meal," he explained. "But my joint pain kept getting worse, especially in my hands and knees." When William's daughter suggested he try eliminating dairy for just 3 weeks, he was hesitant but agreed to experiment. "I was absolutely shocked by the results," he said. "After about 10 days without dairy, I could open jars again without searing pain in my fingers. The constant ache in my knees had diminished enough that I could take walks again." What many people don't realize is that the connection between dairy and inflammation varies greatly from person to person. Some people have obvious allergic reactions to dairy, while others have more subtle inflammatory responses that exclusively affect their joints. And for some, it's not the dairy itself, but the hormones, antibiotics, and proteins found in conventional dairy products that cause problems. Another factor is A1 versus A2. Beta-casein, different types of protein found in cow's milk. Most conventional milk in the United States contains a 1-beta-casein, which has been linked to more inflammatory responses than A2 beta-casein. Some people who can't tolerate regular milk find they can consume A2 milk or dairy from goats and sheep without issues. So what should you eat instead? Fortunately, there are many non-dairy alternatives that can provide similar nutrients without the inflammatory effects. Plant-based milks like almond, oat, or coconut milk, unsweetened varieties. Calcium-rich foods like dark leafy greens, broccoli, bok choy, and calcium-fortified plant milks. Plant-based yogurts made from coconut, almond, or cashew. Nutritional yeast as a cheese flavor. Alternative nut-based cheeses for occasional treats. If you're concerned about calcium intake, remember that many non-dairy foods are excellent sources of this mineral, and they come packed with additional anti-inflammatory benefits. Dark leafy greens like kale and collards, broccoli, bok choy, figs, oranges, and calcium-fortified plant milks can all contribute to meeting your calcium needs without dairy's inflammatory effects. If you decide to eliminate dairy, do so gradually and pay attention to hidden sources in processed foods, baked goods, and restaurant meals. Read labels carefully and be aware that terms like casein, whey, and lactose all indicate dairy content. As with all dietary changes, the key is to experiment mindfully and observe your own body's response. Some people find complete elimination brings the most relief, while others can tolerate small amounts of certain dairy products, particularly those from goats or sheep rather than cows. Final thoughts. Now that we've explored these 6 inflammatory foods, refined sugar, processed and red meats, refined grains, certain vegetable oils, nightshades, and dairy products, you might be wondering, what's left to eat? The good news is that an anti-inflammatory diet for joint health is actually rich, diverse, and delicious when you focus on what to add rather than just what to remove. The key to reducing inflammation and joint pain through diet isn't about strict elimination or deprivation. It's about rebuilding your meals around foods that actively fight inflammation while removing those that promote it. Instead of thinking about what you're giving up, focus on adding colorful fruits and vegetables, healthy fats, lean proteins, and whole foods that will not only improve your joint health, but boost your overall well-being. Remember that dietary changes take time to show their full effects. While some people notice improvement within days, for others it may take several weeks or even months to experience significant relief. Be patient with the process and pay attention to gradual changes in pain levels, morning stiffness, and mobility. It's also important to recognize that food sensitivities are highly individual. What triggers inflammation in one person might be perfectly fine for another. That's why personal experimentation is so valuable. It helps you identify your unique triggers rather than following a one-size-fits-all approach. Consider keeping a food and symptom journal as you make these changes. Note what you eat and how your joints feel in the hours and days afterward. Over time, patterns will emerge that can help you fine-tune your personal anti-inflammatory diet. And finally, remember that diet is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to managing arthritis. Combining dietary changes with appropriate exercise, stress management, quality sleep, and any medications prescribed by your doctor will give you the best chance at reducing pain and maintaining mobility. The journey to less pain and better joint health starts with the choices you make at every meal. By being mindful of these 6 inflammatory foods and gradually replacing them with healthier alternatives, you're taking control of your health in a powerful way that many conventional treatments can't match. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.